Hello again. Many parents in Britain were immensely relieved when the Online Harms Act came into force yesterday. Thank goodness, they said to themselves, now my child will no longer be exposed to unsuitable material when browsing the internet. The idiots. The real question they should have been asking themselves was not why it has taken the state so long to tackle all those horrible websites, but rather why on earth have they been allowing their children unfettered access to the internet? Over the last decade or two, a terrible misapprehension has arisen in the minds of many parents, which is that the well-being of their children is something for which the state should be answerable. It is for the state to educate their children and look after them when they are on the internet. We simply need to trust the state in such matters and all will be well. I will say now with brutal candour that I would not trust the state to look after my house for the weekend, never mind take care of my children. I think that those who honestly believe that the state can be relied upon to decide what is best for their children must be certifiably insane. Have they seen what the British state has been up to over the last 20 years or so? There have, of course, always been those unfortunate souls who looked to the authorities to take care of their kids. 30 years ago, such people were few and far between, but it has now become the default setting for many parents, which is really worrying. I've related this anecdote before, but it's worth telling again to illustrate how this particular mindset works. I used to work in Hackney with parents and children, what were once called problem families. They were actually, it was all mothers who had difficulty bonding with their children, taking care of them, setting appropriate limits, and so on. I worked with a social worker, a community psychiatric nurse, and so on. Anyway, in the summer, we used to do outings, and in 1992, we did an outing to Southend for the day. It was made clear to the parents that they were responsible for their children on this expedition, that we were just along for the ride, paid for everything, of course, but the parents had to look after their own children. One woman with 4 children, the youngest was 2, sat down in a deck chair on the beach and really didn't want to move. She was comfortable. Her 2-year-old boy ran into the sea, and went up to his waist first, which was caused several of us to raise our eyebrows, and then he ran straight further out to sea and fell over and was then under the water and clearly unable to get up. We looked at the mother, and she could see what was happening, and she didn't move at all. She just sat there in the armchair, in the deck chair rather, without moving a muscle. It was the CPN and me who both realised at the same time that she wasn't going to save her child, so we raced into the sea and got the kid back. But later on, we agreed that what had happened was that she had been waiting for the authorities to deal with it. You think she would have sat there and let her child drown, just waiting for someone else to take care of him. This was, as I say, in 1992, and when that happened at that time, it was very rare and atypical that parents felt that way, but it's now become almost ubiquitous. If your child is spending too much time on his or her smartphone, then it's up to schools to ban them. If there is stuff on the internet which might be bad for your children to view, then the government must pass a law to keep them safe. It evidently does not occur to these parents that it is they who have allowed their children to have a mobile telephone. It is they who have thus given their children the run of the internet without any supervision. This is not a problem for the state to tackle. It is something with which parents themselves to deal. There really is no need for children to carry telephones around with them. If it's felt that access to the internet is required, perhaps for schoolwork and so on, then this can be on a laptop in a family room where people are passing to and fro, and parents can see what's on the screen. There, problem solved. If a parent wishes to pay for their child to carry a telephone around, which has free access to the internet, then that's a perfectly legitimate choice to make, but it's no good then complaining when, as will inevitably happen, he or she finds websites about anorexia or sees sexual or violent images. That, I'm afraid, is what the internet is like. There'd be little point in sending your child to walk across a minefield and then expressing grief-stricken surprise when the kid gets blown up. Parents, take responsibility for your children. The state makes a very poor parent indeed. It's hopeless to hand your child over to the state and then think that all the problems are solved.